You are listening to The Tatiana Show. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on The Tatiana Show is intended as financial advice, legal advice, or really anything other than entertainment. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're listening to us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on or of any sponsors or any affiliate products you may hear about on this show. Now that that's squared away, let's start the show.
Hey there, it's time for the show, The Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. In New York for Blockchain Week, make sure you come by 230 Fifth Ave for a special community event that brings together the brightest stars in crypto. Saturday night, May 11th from 6 p.m. to midnight. Join Tatiana Moroz, Michael Salvi, Naomi Brockwell, Bailey Rutzel, and more of your favorite Bitcoin friends for a night of music, comedy, and live entertainment. It's free to attend, so register now at CryptoStarEvents.com. That's CryptoStarEvents.com. Thank you to our sponsor, BlockTap.io. Please go to their website and check out their Universal Cryptocurrency API to get reliable cryptocurrency data. BlockTap.io.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Tatiana Show. It's May 2nd here in beautiful New Jersey. I just got back in from the Bahamas, and one of the first orders of business is to do a new episode of The Tatiana Show. And the fun about this episode is that I have four of my very, very good friends on, and I think it'll be a fun one because we're talking about the May 11th event in New York City. It's in between Magical CryptoCon on that Saturday night, and it's right before Consensus. So if anybody's coming to New York and you want to come, it's a totally free show. You can go to CryptoStarEvents.com, and you can find out all the information. You can register on Eventbrite. We'd love to get registrations just so we know how many people to expect, but we certainly have over 200, which is great. And, now we're getting down to the wire, so I imagine it's going to be pretty awesome time. We have 16 different artists performing, and artists, I mean, not just musical artists. We also have comedians. So one of the people that's not joining me at this thing is Josh, who's the co-host of this show. Josh, have I officially shamed you into coming into? I looked up flights for Josh today. They're only a measly $500. I think we should get him to come to New York, and this is how I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, on the shame spot. No, look, I would really love to go. It's more of a time thing. I've got so much going on, raising money for the for Voltoro equity round, and it's just it's one of those things that's just a full-time thing. But you never know. You never know. I could just throw one of those smoke bombs in the air and suddenly appear.
Well, I would love to see you and anybody else from your team. That would be wonderful. But I will not torture you beyond just this initial shaming.
I'm sure, but it does sound amazing. I mean, you've really put on an epic lineup for this party. So I'm really, definitely wanting to go. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice chill way to kick off the week. I like that it's at the beginning while people still have energy. And the last time I threw a party at Consensus, I think was at my old recording studio, but now we are doing it at 230 Fifth Avenue, which is a really nice venue. And like I said, we have a lot of different speakers and well, not speakers, I guess comedians and musicians. So we're going to talk to a couple of the people that are helping me with this beautiful event. And one of them is Michael Salvi. Michael Salvi is the funny man that I already know.
Don't put that kind of pressure on me.
Well, no, he's not that funny. He's mediocrely funny, but he knows a lot about crypto. He's a nice kid. He's a skateboarder, a stand-up comic, and a Bitcoin hoarder. Thanks so much for coming back on the show today, Mike.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm broadcasting live from beautiful Philadelphia, and I really appreciate your positive spin on life and the fact that you were able to put the words beautiful New Jersey in the same sentence and mean it.
I do mean it, and it's true.
I know. Well, I know you mean it. I'm not going to go... Let's leave the it's true part alone, because I don't know.
The epic battle between New Jersey and Pennsylvania for which is a crappier state.
For the 9 millionth time, I'm going to repeat this joke that is not written by me, but why are New Yorkers always so depressed? Because of light at the end of the tunnel is New Jersey. It writes itself. I didn't write that.
That was pretty good, though.
It's great. It's from like some old cartoon in the 70s. Anyhow, I know you didn't even ask me anything, but just to jump in and tell you how excited I am for next Saturday is just incredible. So, yeah, we have this team, Haha for Hire, 4 other comedians from Philly besides myself. One of, like, before we get into anything, I just got to tell you from my heart, one of them, my friend Jack, has never even left the state of, he's been to New Jersey. He's never been to New York City. He's 32 years old. And to be able to bring him up to New York, not just to go see like Times Square, but to have him perform as a comedian in a high-rise building in Manhattan is just like, I mean, that's a giant milestone just for me to watch him go through that. So that's where part of this is coming from for me. So how's it going, Tatiana?
I'm great. I like your enthusiasm. I like that you're bringing up the Chuckle Tang clan. That's what I'm calling you guys. You have
That's
many.
what we are.
We also have some local comedians that you guys hooked us up with. For our listeners, Naomi Brockwell, very popular member of the community. She's going to do a set. I think she's actually going to do some video for us, which will be really nice because then we can use that. Then we also have Bailey Rutzel from Poindesk. We've got a lot of my singer-songwriter friends, Diana Zinni, Megan Wright, Susanna. There's just a ton of different people. Oliver is trying to come. He's our only male performer at the moment. We have a surprise DJ that people are going to like it. It's going to be cool. We have a surprise DJ that we'll be announcing when we get a little bit closer to the event on Saturday, May 11th. Go to cryptostarevents.com and get your registration. But anyway, so what are people going to hear about? Are you guys only going to do comedy jokes? Or, I'm sorry, crypto jokes?
Yeah, no, we're only going to do comedy jokes. Most comedians do tragedy jokes, but I want to apologize to everybody that's coming, but our jokes are only going to be like humorous. So if you're not into that, don't come.
This isn't the place for you.
No, I think what you were trying to ask me is, are we only doing Bitcoin jokes or just like, jokes about, I don't know, Captain America? Here's the interesting thing. So just for anybody new, I've been in the crypto world since about 2012-ish. Clearly I didn't buy enough. Otherwise we'd be broadcasting from my top tower in Dubai somewhere. However, I was just kind of like into Bitcoin or whatever, but early last year, I ended up doing some retirement party for my friend Keith when he retired from Nexus, and I got lucky by doing a set there, and somebody who was in the crowd, Nathan Hawk, said, come on tour with. So I kind of got this little reputation last year of being a crypto comedian, but I was showing up at these conferences, telling a couple Bitcoin jokes, and then a couple of jokes about like what it's like to be a depressed real estate agent, and then other things like that. Now, this team that I have, like that we're all together now, this Haha for Hire group, they're really just getting introduced to Bitcoin over the past 6 months because of me. Now, they've heard of it, but not really big into it. But they've all got wallets. They all accept crypto. If you want to pay them to come tell jokes, they're more than, they're ready to take it. So here's the cool part. When I told them about this, when we planned this party out, I said, I don't care what you guys know about Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. You don't feel pressured to go learn about it. Just tell me what your experience is when you hear Bitcoin and write about that. So there was no pressure to go become a crypto wizard. However, a couple weeks later, Shay Sasa, who's our just our queen of our group, she sent me a text message, and I'm not going to say what it said, but it just had a lot to do with Bitcoin. It was her way of showing me, hey, I've been up all night, my eyeballs are falling out of my head, and I've been learning about crypto. I'm ready. So what's everybody going to hear? You're just going to hear a lot of funny stuff. It's going to be, you're going to get the jokes. It'll be crypto related, but it'll also just be life related.
Thank God. A joke.
So
I like to hear that it's sort of a bunch of different people that have varying levels of experience, because I think that's sort of the point of the event, right? It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be all technical and boring. It's supposed to be just a way to make people feel a little bit more comfortable with something that can be a little bit scary. And I've actually seen, all of the artists, 3 of the artists are female singer-songwriter friends of mine, and I've gotten them all into crypto in one way or the other, or at least talked crypto with them. So they actually, I think that there may be some other crypto songs besides, of course, the Bitcoin jingle. So we'll see what ends up happening. But
what's interesting, I think, is and it's easy to do this, and I'm not saying anything negative about crypto people. I'm one of them, but it's very easy. And just think about what you're into in your life. It's very easy to get stuck in a bubble and get caught in lingo, and it's almost like we feel like there's civilians that are non-crypto people, right? So like for instance, I have a joke where I compare, different coins to, being in different relationships and different women. And one of the things that, one of the jokes that I say, well, but one of the reason I'm getting one of the jokes is I say how Ethereum knocks on your door and shows up with 20 of her friends. Now that joke does really well in front of a crypto crowd because they get that I'm making an ERC20 joke. But if I tell that joke anywhere else, they're like, okay, what's Ethereum and how 19 of her friends show up? So it's just like, it's adaptable. So for a non-Bitcoin audience, I might say something as simple as like, most people just want to know how in the world are people trading Super Mario Brothers coins for Pac-Man pellets and buying Lamborghinis. And that's enough there too. So it's just like, maybe this part is like the explanation of it is kind of boring, but it's just like, I know that there's different levels. So when we get caught in this bubble of, we think everybody knows what the difference between Litecoin and a Lightning and all these things. We forget that there's other people that look at us like we're nuts. So my comedian friends are, the fact that like one of them doesn't know anything about it, not to give away his joke, but he just says such a simple thing about it where it's like, of course that's what a stranger would say. Totally. And it's nice for me to hear it because I laugh because I'm reminded not everybody knows about it. And maybe on a deeper level, the positive thing is there's so much more untapped potential because people don't know enough about it. But it's just like, you're right. It's really cool to see these different levels. So I'm excited to see, for instance, like my buddy Jack run around and go talk to all these different people and people teach him things. Or Shay, she's been studying for the past few months, so she may have like different level questions that Jack might. And I don't know what, but everyone's going to get something different out of it.
Yeah.
I think hopefully this event is a good reminder for people like that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of new faces. Look, let's face it, we're going to have a pretty hardcore crypto audience. It's the middle of the big blockchain fest. But my goal is to try and bring out some of my normal friends and start trying to trick them into getting into crypto for the 400th time. I know that, people have been promoting it online and we've been getting a lot of support from the community. I know Ken Bozak is going to be there.
Yes.
I'm going on his show tomorrow. Tone Vase is one of our celebrity guests.
I met him for the first time when he came to Philly a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's been here before. Our paths didn't cross. So I met him for the first time, and the Bitcoin Philly people were actually like, hey, do you guys want to come, do a set? So the Haha for Hire team, most of us went over at a Bitcoin Philly meetup. All total, I think all of us were only up there for maybe 15 minutes. We just did like quick little lightning rounds, but we got to meet Tone. And listen, I'll just tell you still, even as a performer, I'm very confident. You can wake me up at 3 a.m. and say, Mike, you got to go on stage in 10 minutes and I'll be okay. But there is still a little giddy kid in me that when I make somebody laugh that I look up to, I get that like, and I feel like I turn red. Well, I looked over it, like it happened to me with Fluffy Pony last year. It happened to me with like other like comedians or just friends and people in my life. But Tone specifically, I looked over, he was buckled laughing. And I'm not saying anything negative about the guy. All what I'm saying is he came up to me and was like, yo, he shook my hand like 3 or 4 times. Like, when you're excited to meet somebody, you do that. It was just a mutual, like, yo, that was great. So I'm excited to like have him there. And like, I'll say it right now, I'm just live on the internet forever. I feel like I impressed him. And I feel better about myself, about life. So it's just like to know that I can make someone like him laugh, even you, like, and especially I feel like your level, if you guys are all at like a college level with crypto, I might be like a high school dropout trying to find the GED like school so I can get out quickly. I know enough to get by, right? So there is a level of intimidation for me when I'm around certain crypto people and they start talking and I'm like, holy Lord. But if I can say something to make y'all laugh, then it makes me feel like, okay, this is enough.
Well, we're getting our laughs in.
Good. So laugh, please. I like it. Makes me feel good.
No, but I totally resonate with the whole, some people aren't crypto. They don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And you're like going on for ages and then they'll go, what's Ethereum? Is that a drug?
Right. What do you mean? So we're all really looking forward to this. I could sit here and just tell you how great like we all feel and what an impact, Tatiana, you personally have made in my life, and then the trickle down into everybody else from Haha for Hire. Because last night, one of the comics goes at the host at the mic we were at last night goes, give it up for Haha for Hire. He's like, this team has only been around like not even a couple weeks, and they already got booked in New York. I don't know how they did that, but give it up for them. And it's just like it feels good to get that type of recognition. And
well, you also did that festival without you. That festival that you did in Philly seemed like a pretty cool gig too. What was it, the French Festival or the Film Festival or something or other?
Yeah, but I've done stuff. My resume is pretty awesome.
Not as cool as with us, but
Right. Well, even the stuff I've done with you guys and then just with the community, my resume is awesome, but don't get me, but all that is like, I don't mind sticking that in a shredder right now because I'm just really excited about this event, what this will do for, who knows what this will turn into. So again, I could just go into all how thankful I am, but I don't want to take up too much time on the show. I think you guys know I'm so happy, and I genuinely mean, I want as many people in there as possible because I really want to show you guys what we have to offer the crypto world in a transition from, holy shit, here's comedians who are enough into it. We're low level people. You know, I don't have security guards. I got an email address, so I'm easy to get a hold of, you know? So like, we're the first comedian group on a blockchain. Like, I made a Steemit account, and we have like, we have D2 videos, and each one of them, there's only 6 or so, but each one of them has like a $2 vote. That's awesome for only having 11 followers on there. So like, just within the first few days. So I really encourage people to like follow our story, because we're living proof. We're a live, living, breathing use case of what crypto is. Where can you spend it? You can spend it on 5 comedians from Philly.
and you know what? Like, what fiat currency anywhere in the world has comedians talking about it?
Unless to make fun of it.
Unless to make fun of it. You know, really, that's why Bitcoin's going to work. Is because
that's the creative aspect that we're trying.
You know what's funny? I thought of this last year, and I looked this up. So real, just quick, everybody listening, your own little exercise. Look up U.S. dollar clothes, or like whatever it is. Like, basically look at it like this. Like, in America, people will wear a suit that has like Ben Franklin $100 bills all over it, right? There's not one other like, nobody's wearing a shirt that says like the euro. No. Nobody's wearing a shirt that says yen. But the only 2 currencies I've ever seen is just America, because it's obnoxious, but Bitcoin. Everybody will rock a Bitcoin shirt so fast.
Oh yeah.
You know? And the only other gaudy currency that does that is America, because we're just weird.
Yeah, and it's growing. You know what I mean? And now we're sort of expanding the community. We've been doing this for, such a long time now. Anywho, thanks, Mike, so much for telling us about, just some little previews about what we can expect from the Philly crew.
Have you got a Twitter account or something?
Yes. Okay. So all across the board, we're at Haha for Hire on Steemit, DTube, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Like, anywhere any social media, I locked that Haha for Hire up across the board, and we're very easy to find.
Brilliant.
I like that name, by the way. So let's, we're about to talk a little bit with some of our partners. Obreahny O'Brien from the Lenox Group, she actually helped me organize, but I wanted to really quickly give credit to all the different acts that we have performing. So I'm going to just read them down from cryptostarevents.com. We have Tatiana Moroz. She's fantastic. I've heard she's very, very good. Diana Zinni. She's a good friend of mine over in Jersey City, local New York artist. Megan Wright, one of my favorite artists I know. We used to work together. She's amazing. Naomi Brockwell needs no introduction. Ali, so Oliver from BITT.com. He's coming up from the Caribbean. We're hoping he'll be able to join us. There might be some flight delays, but we're working on that. Adam Elliott, he's one of the comedians. Bailey Rutzel. You guys know Bailey from CoinDesk, but she's doing stand-up. So that's going to be super cool. I think it's the first time that she's doing it. Che Sasa, Jack Willis, John Gardner, Susanna Winspear. Another one is singer-songwriters. I think she's got a cool Bitcoin song. She actually knew about crypto for a while. Kyra Wagstaff, Lawrence Arnell, Rich Owen, and Sam Hancock. So we've got a lot of folks, and I think that I'm waiting to confirm with Margot Avidisian. I never remember how to say her last name, but she's been doing crypto comedy forever, so she's a last-minute addition to the bill. And we've got a couple special guests that we're going to be announcing in the upcoming weeks. But I can't do this all myself. And we've had these amazing partners like Chia, which is why Ryan's joining us in a little while. We've got our friends over at Edge, the media outlet Sonic Scoop. Then we also have blocktap.io. Bitcoin Magazine is one of our media partners. Crypto Media Hub, my company, is sort of putting on the event. And then, of course, Lenox Group. So Obreahny O'Brien has been on the show before because she wrote a book called Blockchain for CEOs, but she also is working on this event with us. She's the CEO and founder of the Lenox Group. So thanks so much, Obreahny, for joining us. And thanks so much for all your help with this wonderful event we've got planned.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I gotta say, I'm super hyped about this because one of my favorite things to do is to listen to comedians. And the reason why that is like a lot of the work that we do is taking really complicated concepts and simply simplifying it down. And in management consulting, we call that a point of view. And so what I love about comedians is that for once, I get to sit back and watch somebody else give a point of view. So I'm so excited to be able to go to a crypto event and listen to not only somebody else give a point of view, but also do it in a way that, gives another perspective on how do you simplify and engage a concept or engage others with this complicated concept. So I think a lot of the points that Mike brought up was really, really smart. And I think really highlights the benefit of what this party is going to be, which is it's not just your typical crypto crowd. I mean, there's going to be a lot of crypto superstars there, but there's also going to be, individuals there who really be able to engage with the subject matter because of the way it's going to be presented through these comedians and through their points of view. So I'm really excited about that. And, I've been in the space since 2014, and I got to tell you, Tatiana, like outside of you, I haven't really interacted with many other musicians in the space. So I'm really also curious to see, how they're going to, digest this topic and then relay that to the audience and just to see, a variety of other types of voices out there. So I'm really hyped about this. And the space that you were able to score is amazing. I mean,
yeah, that was quite a treat. I looked in there and I said, wow, okay, yeah, this will work.
So what I'm going to give a little bit of the backstory to this. So Tatiana was running around, doing a lot of the legwork, trying to find a spot for the venue. And she was sending me pictures. And I was like, yeah, that looks great. It looks good. And then out of nowhere, you came with this opportunity at 235th. And I was like, wow, you've just completely elevated, not only the event, but also crypto. I mean, it's just a beautiful spot in the city. So, again, even if you know nothing about crypto, the fact that there's going to be a party at 235th is really awesome. And so I think that is really what's going to differentiate and engage others outside of the traditional community.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. It's been actually not that hard to put together. Things have been coming together pretty quickly, and it's easy when you have, such a great array of talent. And I have a lot of really good friends and a lot of supporters. So thank you so much, Obreahny, for believing in this. And we're getting close to the finish line. It's going to be really, really cool.
Oh, happy to. And thanks for including me. I think this is going to be a great event. I'm so looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've really appreciated our friendship and also your contribution to the community. Like the episode that we did about blockchain for CEOs, I get so many compliments. If people want to listen to it, it's on the Tatiana show a few months back. And I don't know, like it's really neat to see us working together on this and everything. It's really neat. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. And I'm hoping we're able to extend that friendship we've made to making new friendships during the event. So I think that would be pretty cool. And that's the other thing too, what I like about this is that, a lot of these events are either very technical or they can get a little bit cliquey. And here, and just even with traditional networking, it's hard, right? Here, it's a no-brainer. You show up, there's no expectation. You can sit, you can consume, right? Whether it's you listening to someone else give a point of view, just enjoying the music or even just the venue. So I think it's like a really lovely way to get people together in a fun environment that requires no knowledge about any crypto, and that will, I think, is what's going to allow people to engage with each other and hopefully create friendships and business opportunities.
Yeah, I like to do business and friendship. I know sometimes people say that they shouldn't mix, but I think a lot of people, especially in like the Bitcoin industry and the crypto world, they want to do business with people that they're friendly with because we were all brought here together, not because, oh, okay, I need to get a job that has to pay this much money a year. I mean, we're basically all zealots. So, if you can get to know people in a social way, I think it's easier to gauge whether or not you had melded together in longer term partnerships. So I don't know. I mean, there'll be some fun and some friendship, but maybe some business too. And yeah, thanks so much for being a part of it. You're actually flying in a little bit later because you're already doing a talk down in Florida, but I'm sure that you'll be there in time for most of the action.
That's right. I'm speaking to a group of bankers in Florida about blockchain, but I am so determined to be there that as soon as I finish, I'm just running to the airport and hopping on a plane. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep a seat for you up at the front. It's a pretty large venue. And thanks again, Obreahny, for all your support and for also just being a cool member of the community. We need more awesome chicks like you with brains to beat. So I don't know, Josh, any comments before we bring on Ryan? We're going to talk a little bit about what he's been up to.
Oh, I'm just,
you're basically Googling,
depressed.
You're Googling flights right now. Admit it. You're looking on Kayak.
Yeah, flights. Oh man, Ted, like, if anyone can organize a good event, it's you. Last time at your studio there, was it Tupac? Was that where he was?
Oh, that was Tupac was shot there.
Shot there. That was like, I was like, wow, cool.
People like that a lot. I tell people it's like a weird random feature. Yeah, I remember. I think that was probably the first time we met, and you just came in like this big, tall person.
Yeah, direct from Burning Man, I think.
Yes, exactly. You and your sister. That was good times. Anyway, I hope we can recreate that. But I'm psyched to bring up Ryan Singer because Ryan is also one of my OG friends from the crypto space, and that's a little bit kind of what I was playing at when putting this together. Ryan started out in the crypto industry. I don't know, Ryan, why don't you tell your story? Because right now you're the CEO and co-founder of Chia.net, who's one of our lead sponsors at the event. Actually, they are the lead sponsor at the event. So thank you very much for supporting us. But maybe you could tell the audience who maybe hasn't seen you on a previous Tatiana show, because you've been on before, just a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I got involved in this space while I was a researcher at Stanford, working in the Peace Innovation Lab, and got super interested in the idea that Bitcoin could enable just a global finance industry unshackled from the individual nations running their own individual little pools. And just someone could, by using Bitcoin, be part of the global financial world without anybody's permission or help. And that was really exciting for me. In 2012, I partnered with a guy who had started the first American Bitcoin exchange to start the first institutional Bitcoin exchange. It was called TradeHill. And we banked for Bitcoin exchange, but basically all of the big Bitcoin exchanges now. So in 2012 and 2013, we were one of the biggest places where Coinbase bought coins to be able to sell them to other people. And then since that company shut down at the end of 2013, I haven't been able to get enough. And I've been working with banks and drug companies and all sorts of other clients and helping them understand how Bitcoin and related technologies can help their business. And now I'm working with Bram Cohen, the guy who invented BitTorrent, to build a much better digital money that takes a lot of the things that are really great about Bitcoin and takes them further.
Wow. Yeah, but that sounds really exciting. So you guys are working on your own crypto to what are you working on?
Yeah, Ryan, I've been looking into it, and it seems like you guys are taking a lot of the ideas from Bitcoin, but trying to make it more green and also less centralized. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So Bitcoin mining itself, I think, is one of the great inventions of the 21st century so far.
Yeah.
This idea that we call Nakamoto consensus, where you can have a completely open network with no hierarchy, no ranking, no voting, no staking, none of the, no ties to social hierarchy in the real world. And anybody can join at any time and it just works. And anybody can leave at any time and it continues working. The network can be split and it still works. Then the split can be healed and it still works. It's truly an incredible invention. This idea that proof of work can be made into a consensus. But it hasn't worked out the way that we originally hoped. If you look at what the Bitcoin white paper describes, what it says is one CPU, one vote. What we ended up with is very large pools that control the vast majority of the hashing power, that are the only people who get votes. And if you want to make reasonable, even returns as a miner, you have to join one of them. And what's ended up happening is each one of these large pools has been anchored by a large mining installation, usually in developing countries, usually tied to subsidized or non-billed electricity, which has its own kind of corruption issues. And those people have effectively all of the say in hard forks to the Bitcoin network, including hard forks with the intention of disrupting soft forks that come from the node operators. So what we've ended up with is Bitcoin is powered by a cartel, a very few number of pools that use actually such an extraordinary amount of power that it's more than the nation of Austria, which is a developed country in Europe.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of power, isn't it? Really, it's really, it shows you the power of proper incentivization, I think.
Well, it does, but it's also under the control of kind of these 8 pool operators that between them are the only people who matter in deciding which transactions get into the Bitcoin blockchain or which new rules are placed on consensus. And that gets us really far away from the one CPU, one vote that was the original idea. And so what Chia's invented, Bram calls proof of space and time. And we've released a lot of research in AsiaCrypt and Eurocrypt and IECR, and you can find the links to that on our website. But what it basically comes down to is 1 gigabyte, 1 vote, using proofs of space instead of proofs of work, but to achieve the same kind of open access, completely flat network hierarchy that was Bitcoin's original goal. And we do this without the pools having any power over which transactions get in or which consensus rules get adopted, but instead very, very much 1 gigabyte, 1 vote. You just use your disk space to participate in consensus. And that's been a really incredible thing to watch develop since we started Chia. And then the other focus is on taking the good start that's Bitcoin's functionality with Bitcoin script and multi-sig and Schnorr signatures, which are coming out, and really dramatically improving it with BLS signatures invented by our advisor, Dan Bonet, and with our smart coin platform that's based around the Chia Lisp programming language. That's the goal of it, is really to make it much, much easier to build your approval processes, your financial controls, your chargeback requirements directly into the individual coins in your account.
Yeah, I mean, just one quick geeky question here, but how do we, how do you stop someone just firing up some Amazon S3 hard drives and just cranking it hard?
That's a great question. So everybody knows that the largest users of disk space in the world are Facebook, Amazon, Google, and the NSA. And they just have massive, massive deployments. In fact, we were speaking to a major hard drive manufacturer recently, and they told us that they actually have 2 SKUs that they use for their biggest production runs of disks. 1 SKU for Facebook, Amazon, Google, and the NSA, and then a different SKU for everyone else.
Wow.
That's how much they use.
Wow.
But they don't actually have that much free. Facebook, Amazon, Google, and the NSA all slot new disks basically 40 hours a week, every week of the year. And they generally have less than 5%, sometimes even less than 3% of their disk space unallocated at any given time. So this makes a lot of sense when you think about that. If you as a user of AWS have allocated, say, a terabyte hard disk on AWS, and you've encrypted that, it doesn't matter how much of that is free to you. None of that is free to Amazon. They just see a terabyte encrypted file on their file system that they can't overwrite without breaking their contract with you. So as a result, even though these guys have massively more deployed storage than everyone else, in terms of over-provisioned storage, in terms of storage that's currently free, they're comparable to anybody else that buys network-attached storage, and not actually that much bigger.
Okay. I mean, the pool thing is interesting because we have had sort of 4 or 5, 6 to 8 pools that have sort of dominated for ages, but it is very fluid and it tends to just sort of stick around that mark. And this has been far out since, 2011 even. We haven't, we have had moments where certain pools have hit. There was one pool that hit 51%, 52%, and then everyone went skits on Reddit and everywhere else, and they actually stopped new people adding hash power. But that was the only time it sort of went over. How much of a threat do you really see it as? Because a lot of these pools are made up of miners from around the world that add to one single pool.
So the way that Bitcoin pooling works is interesting in that what the pool does is they provide the proposed block to all of the people who are mining contributing to the pool. And then those miners try to solve a nonce for that block that produces the right hash.
Yeah.
So what that means is that the individual miners that contribute to a pool are not involved at all in actual consensus. They're not involved in deciding what's going to go into the next block.
Oh, right. Okay,
They're simply involved in guessing the knots. So as a result, the strategic decision of whether or not to do what's called selfish mining is up to the pool operator, not the miners. And the strategic decisions of which transactions they want to let in, or which features they want to enable, or which forks they want to support is done by the pool operators, not by the miners. At Chia, we consider this a design flaw in Bitcoin that wouldn't have been built if at the time Bitcoin mining was designed, the creation of pools was anticipated.
So when you talk about Chia, I still don't quite get how that fixes it.
Yeah, so
how do you stop pools of people pooling all their hard drives? But
yeah, so Chia's pooling protocol doesn't involve the propagation of pool decided blocks at all. Chia's pooling protocol is just basically a smart contract for smoothing out rewards. So it's still the individual end level farmer that has possession of the disk that can take that can choose which transactions go into the block and can take the transaction. And they've only pre-committed to giving the block reward to the pool, not the transaction.
So what do you think of the whole big size, small size block thing? Because that also adds to, this is also something that pools control of how fast can they propagate, larger blocks, which is impossible.
So Chia's firmly with Bitcoin Core and the small block camp. I know that this is a controversial thing. We don't see Chia blocks being a different order of magnitude than Bitcoin blocks. We anticipate from day one, the vast majority of on-chain transactions will be setting up and tearing down clearing relationships, and the vast majority of payments will happen off-chain, like in Lightning. We're betting very much that the best scalability is off-chain scalability, and this is a very different bet than many other Bitcoin competitors.
No, I totally agree.
Well, I don't know. I think this is pretty cool. Ryan, can people get Chia now or no?
No, we're still working on building the network.
Okay.
So we've released already the BLS signatures, which are cool because they aggregate much better than Schnorr signatures do. And we've released our verifiable delay function. Proof of space should come out soon, and we hope to do a test net before too long, but we'll announce that kind of when it's ready.
Are you going to let me try it?
Absolutely.
But what I think we should do is I should hang out with you and show you how I go through it, because I don't know. I think a lot of times I think that kind of feedback could be good for people because I kind of know what's going on, but not really. I'm always intimidated by this process. So maybe I can give you some good feedback and also get the benefit of you teaching me how to do it.
For our listeners, Tatiana's being too modest. She came out with the first artist coin and is an accomplished technology entrepreneur in her own right.
Yeah,
You're very
absolutely.
sweet. I shouldn't be so self-deprecating, but let's just say I have something in common with people who don't understand all technology out there. So anywho, that's wonderful. So Ryan, what are you doing in New York besides coming to our party and maybe, I don't know, hanging out with me?
Well, I'll be attending the Magical Crypto Conference and Consensus, and just in general talking to people who wish that Bitcoin was something they could use at work and trying to figure out how they can make sure they can use Chia at work. So this will be Fortune 5000s that are doing international payments and supply chains. It'll be Bitcoin exchanges that are interested in Chia listing and in borrowing Chia from us to do margin trading. And hopefully we'll find financial institutions that are interested in working with us to take our company public before the network launch, because we really would rather do that than do an ICO.
Yeah. What do you think of the ICO play right now? I've heard recently that, some people are saying, the ICO is back. I'm like, I don't know if that's true. It's kind of like a couple weak little headlines. What's your thought on that? Why are you reticent to do an ICO, for example?
I think that it can be really confusing to both investors and regulators when you do kind of fundraising activity about how exciting the future of your network is, and that's mixed in with the useful tokens. And people don't know really what your obligations are to them, especially after you've delivered the tokens. What are your obligations to continue supporting the network and things like that? I think that the reason that the SEC has been cracking down and the reason people are upset is because it's really unclear, the relationship between the team and the investors. With Chia, we want to make it very clear that we want investors to be able to get the same deal that I do, where they're shareholders in the company that has this long-term mission to develop and grow the network. And if they get any coins from that, it'll be at the same time everybody else from the company does, and it'll be by virtue of ownership in the company, not by virtue of having bought the coins as an investment contract.
I think that sounds, manageable. I get a little frustrated when people kind of rag on ICOs or rely on them too hard. They're just very untested. You know what I'm saying? So I think in these early stages, while we're testing things out, when you're looking for larger investments and stuff, I don't know, it just seems to be better the way that you're approaching it versus trying to do an ICO. But I think that model, as it evolves, is going to continue to be relevant and very helpful. It just needs a little bit of time, I think, to blossom, and also for the regulation to kind of catch up. Because I don't know, it just seems like there's always some really scary stuff happening on the regulatory side. And if you're a person that doesn't want to go to jail or get fined a huge amount of money or something, you've really got to be mindful of that. And it's hard to do when it's a little bit unwritten still.
Yeah, but I don't buy the whole STO is going to save the day, because there's no possible way that regulators could possibly regulate every single, imagine if every single website that got put up had to go through a regulator to get approval. It's just nonsense. And really, effectively, an STO is the exact same thing as an ICO. It's just, got the stamp of approval from the state. And so, and also the internet being the internet and not stuck in one single place, you're really dealing with something that can't be absolutely regulated, apart from, if it's a sketchy business sitting in a certain spot, then of course that spot can be regulated. But generally, if you have a distributed team of coders coding some cool project and they want to tokenize it, I think the ICOs, it gets too much, everything's a scam thrown at it. I think the concept of an initial coin offering is still really cool. I myself haven't really bought into, I think I've bought into one, but I still think the concept is really cool, and the concept of an STO just makes me sort of go, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there's a big spectrum in between a bunch of people putting software up on the internet and putting code up, and people using that code, and that code forming a network that has useful tokens, and that's how I would describe Bitcoin. And then a team that has lawyers, that has corporate infrastructure, that raises money from investors. And I think that those are two very different things. And if you're putting together a group of people that are developing open source software with each other, that run it, and that open source software creates this token between them, then I think you're right that not only is that going to be very difficult to police, but also society doesn't get much value in discouraging that. But when it comes to people who are building a kind of common enterprise and using that to raise money and to build a group of investors, I think that most countries, and I think at least most developed countries, have made a decision both in law and in culture that that's regulated activity, and that there are right ways to do that and wrong ways to do that.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Awesome. Well, I think that's probably a good place to break for today, unless, I don't know, Ryan, anything else you want to chat about? Anything you're excited about for the rest of the year besides working more?
Well, Tatiana, I'm excited about seeing you at the party.
I'm very excited to hang out. We're going to have such a great time. And I like that it's at the beginning of that week, because that's going to be a really long week of action. Are you here for the entire time, or when do you go back?
Yeah, I'm here all week. I'll fly back on Friday or Saturday. Also, one thing that I found interesting earlier when you were talking to Obreahny, this idea that after she talks to the banker, she's going to sprint to her plane. I just got this amazing mental image of her coming out of the plane with the parachute into the party, like what's his name, the Virgin founder, Richard Branson.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I think she'd like that.
Next year, that's our next sponsorship, Ryan.
Well, they have a rooftop. I mean, you can't do any kind of performances or anything on the rooftop. So we have the Empire Suite, which is quite beautiful. But the rooftop, you can go up there. Yeah, there you go.
If that happens, I'll even come. How's that?
Well,
Awesome.
I want you and Tatiana jumping off the plane with me, though.
I don't know about all that.
Full head first dive.
I have a severe fear of heights. Not a severe fear of heights, but I wouldn't want to jump out of a plane. I think that's just counterintuitive.
Well, I love those. Like, if you've got Ryan involved, like, he's just so smart. He'll figure out the logistics.
So,
we should let people know I've known Ryan for a number of years as well. So, and I just like to say I'm so proud of you. I mean, I've told you this before, but yeah, I have full confidence that you could figure out a way for us to jump most efficiently and safely, and we'd be fine.
With good consensus.
Yeah, I always tell people Ryan's one of my smartest friends, so that works out pretty well. Great. So everybody, we're so excited. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Ryan. Thank you to our media partners, Bitcoin Magazine and Sonic Scoop, to our sponsors, Edge, blocktap.io, and of course, Lenox Group. Make sure you all go to chia.net and check out what they're working on over there. Come say hi to Ryan, Obreahny, Mike, myself, and maybe Josh, if we can convince him. On May 11th, go to cryptostarevents.com and get your tickets. There's a link inside of there to Eventbrite, and they're free. So bring some non-crypto friends, and we hope to see you all there. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks Mike.
Tatiana.
Thanks, Obreahny. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Josh. See you all soon. Bye.
Oh.
Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show.
Ross Ulbricht is serving a double life sentence without parole for all nonviolent charges for creating a website. Please help free this peaceful man. Go to freeross.org and sign and share the petition.
What's the point of all this technology without a little love in our lives? Our hosts, Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz, have come together to bring you Proof of Love. Go to proofoflovecast.com. Thank you for listening to The Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.